TV's Kainani Stevens.
And you turn yourself around. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, so all the jokes are funny to me today. Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrack, who's still across the pond enjoying his time in London. The team traveled back last night. So we're here to talk all about whatever it was that we saw at Wembley Stadium yesterday. Welcome into the Hyundai Studios. It's happy hour here on Monday, October 20th. Coming up today, presented by Deep Eddy Vodka, handcrafted with real fruit, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. As I mentioned, it was a blowout at Wembley Stadium in London, and that was troubling to say the least. One positive from the day, we're going to say Travis Hunter got his first touchdown. We saw a little bit of what he can do on offense, finally, which has been exciting. We're going to keep it real with you, as we always do. And we'll answer some of your fan questions because I think there's a lot of them as we head into the bye week. So I want to welcome in CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. Austin Lane's going to join us a little bit later. But Pete, you had to get up early and watch it in the morning on Sunday. And it looked a little sleepy to start, and it didn't get much better after that for the Jaguars.
It was bad. I mean, it was really bad. And I thought they would come out and at least show some fight. That's a good Rams team, by the way. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's a good Rams team. But they just didn't do anything. And I was disappointed right from the get-go on the offensive performance was awful. And we got a lot to get into, but the quarterback is becoming a problem, I think. And it wasn't awful, but when you're that guy, you're supposed to be above that.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be better than that, right? I mean, he's just, to me, and we'll get into some of the plays, but he passes on opportunities down the field. I think he leaves some clean pockets, and there's no rhythm to the offense. They have pre-snap penalties. They drop passes. Brian Thomas Jr. is a problem. And all in all, it's just not a good look on the offensive side of the football right now.
And for a team that we thought was going to be explosive on offense, coming in with Liam Cohen, going up against, obviously, a mentor, a former coach he worked with in Sean McVay. I was leery of this matchup anyway, but to be that cold coming out, and I think we just talked about this before the show started, that first play out of the gate, you see Travis Hunter wide open. Trevor looks like he goes through maybe two reads, and then the guy's right on him, but throw the ball. And he said so as much after the game when the press was asking him questions after. He said, I missed that play myself. But if you're coming out in the first play, that's tough. And then also just having the confidence in your quarterback right off the gate, like, oh, maybe he's not ready either.
Yeah, see, he's trying to throw to Brian Thomas there, but he's got to stay there because he can clearly see the corner sinking, and he's got to take that shot, that little quick throw to Travis Hunter. That's easy. There were a couple others. There's one, he tried a short throw to Brian Thomas later in the game. It was a quick throw to the sideline where they did an in and out, and he's got Travis Hunter standing right there for nobody's near him, and he doesn't throw to him. There's also a play where the one where Brian Thomas Jr. dropped it in the middle of the field. That's a good throw. It should be a catch. Mm-hmm. But he's got Travis Hunter up the field for a touchdown on that play if he throws it. And Travis Hunter started jumping. I don't know if you guys saw it in the stadium, but I watched the tape today. He started jumping around, frustrated by it. So, the check down to second and 15 or whatever it was early in the game when he checked it down to Travis Etienne and it was batted down at the line of scrimmage. He's got two corner routes. He can take whichever one he wants to, and he doesn't throw them. So there is concern about the quarterback and his ability to get to the better play than the easier play. And by that, I mean, it's easy to take that quick throw to the outside, but sometimes you got to wait and let the big play come to you and throw that one. So it was unsettling yesterday to watch that offense. It really was.
Pete, Austin Lane's in with us now. Austin, we were just talking a little bit about a lot of stuff to get to because there was a lot of stuff we didn't love to see yesterday. But some of the decision-making from Trevor Lawrence, I don't want to put it all on him because I know there's plenty of blame to go around, but it is frustrating at times. And we talked about that first play where he's not making the throw to Travis Hunter, and then there's frustration from other players on the field you can see. Yeah,
I think, listen, I don't go on social media a lot. Right,
yeah.
but there's there's a civil war right now going on between is Trevor Lawrence the guy or not? Right, I think a lot of the narrative is guys are dropping balls, right? The offensive line's not blocking like they're supposed to, and I agree with all of that. But I think the conversation we have to have now is Trevor Lawrence capable of elevating the guys around him? And right now, I don't think he is. And if you look at how much he's making, and it's not about the money sometimes, Pete, you can probably attest to this, but it's what the money says. right? And the money says right now he's getting paid top 5 in the league. That's Jared Goff numbers. That's Dak Prescott. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's Joe Burrow. That's, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. I think those guys I just mentioned are capable of elevating their team when things aren't going right, when offensive lines aren't blocking, when guys are dropping balls. I think Trevor Lawrence right now isn't in that category. And until he is, he's going to need the offensive line to block their off. He's going to need the running game to do their part. He's going to need the right play calling. He's going to need everything to go right for him to be successful. And that's just what it is right now.
And Austin, I watched the tape today, and there are so many opportunities for him that he passes up on that I don't understand. And I don't. And we were just talking before you came on about the check down to Travis Etienne that was batted down to the line of scrimmage on 2nd and 14.
Yeah.
He's got 2 corner routes against cover 2, so you can take your pick. The corners haven't sunk far enough. So if you can hold hold the safety a little, you can put it on, put it to the. He passed on him, took the check down.
Mm-hmm.
He had there was an in and out route with Brian Thomas lined up inside of Travis Hunter. Thomas ran the out, Hunter ran the in. He's wide open. He throws to Brian Thomas on the side.
Yeah.
There's just so many things right now that he's missing, and you can't do that in this league. You know that, and you mentioned the money. Look, they paid him. They thought he was the franchise quarterback. And is he elevating everybody else? No, I agree with you 100%. And so that's where the sticking point is. And that's why people are pushing back now on whether he's the problem. I don't think he's the entire problem, by the way. I mean, you can't get into a rhythm on this offense at all with drop passes and pre-snap penalties and holding penalties and everything else. So it just adds to the frustration. But he's got to be better than he is.
Well,
and at some point, they got to wonder if they have an issue on their hands with their quarterback.
And Pete, here's the thing, and I get it. I'm not making up excuses for the offensive line not doing their part. The running game was really non-existent, even though I felt like, ETN, and there's more, it was kind of garbage time, but I question in terms of what the game plan was going into that game, because so far we've seen when they run the football, they're successful. If defenses shut the run game down, you can't rely on Trevor's arm and this passing offense to get the job done. And it's as simple as that. But what I'm saying is both things can be true here, Pete. Trevor Lawrence right now doesn't have the capabilities to elevate the guys around him, and he's getting no help in terms of offensive line, in terms of wide receivers and the drops and everything like that. Like, both things can be true, and that's what people don't realize. Like, everyone wants to take one side and stick on that side, and that's not how it has to be. But the fact of the matter is he's getting paid like a high caliber elite quarterback in this league. And right now he's not playing like it.
And we'll talk a little bit about the drops later on, but offensive line play has dropped off very quickly. I don't know if that's just injury based or what's going on, Pete. I'm sure you can elaborate a little bit.
I don't know if that's injury based. I think the right guard has become a problem. McCary has become a problem. They paid him money to come in there and be the right guard. And the last three games, not been very good. He was terrible on Sunday, and he was the main problem. Now, Little 2 weeks ago was terrible, and in fact, the whole last week. By the way, we didn't have a show.
I know you haven't had a chance to get in on this.
The Seattle game was one of the worst offensive line performances I've ever seen. They were awful, and you know who the best one was? The rookie center was the best one. Yeah, and so they were terrible. Yesterday, it was McCary was bad. Harrison didn't have a great game, and I don't know if that's bleeding over from him being there next to him. And Little he struggled like he did 2 weeks ago. But I think, the right guard, they might need to look at making a change there. And it sounds crazy, and I know it's early in the season, but the last 2 weeks have been really bad for him.
You're not wrong, but I think the question has to be then, because it's not just the right guard. The entire offensive line right now is a little porous than you want to see. But you talk about a decision to, and because I haven't seen you in a while, Pete. Hey, by the way, it's great to see you, man. But
great to see you too.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't miss JP, by the way.
Oh no,
it's okay.
Didn't even skip a beat. Yeah, no. But you talk about like a decision like trading Campbell to Cleveland, right? Because maybe he didn't fit the scheme, maybe he wasn't playing up to the standard, and expectations were set forth. Right, so if I'm a player in that locker room, I go, okay, wow, they just traded Tyson Campbell away, who wasn't maybe playing his best ball, but still I think a pretty beloved guy in that locker room. So it goes to show you, okay, players got to play better. Well, now you have an entire offensive line that has taken steps back, that doesn't seem to really be doing their job to the best of their abilities. Like, this bye week, I felt like, and I said this in the pregame show, it can go one of two ways. You can win this Rams game and all of a sudden, okay, get some rest, get some much-needed relaxation, or you can put the performance like you put out there, and now it's like everything's on the table. And when you have an extra week, I think you have to establish, like, okay, which of these guys are meeting our standard right now that we can coach to meet our standard, and which guys can't meet it.
I think there's going to be a lot of discussion in this bye week exactly what this team is going to look like going forward. We know James Gladstone isn't afraid to make a move, so there may be that in play as well. But, Pete, these penalties are killing me. And just the frustration of, and I'm sure this is affecting play calling because they're getting all these penalties in there. All of a sudden it's 1st and 15, 1st and 20. But you can't even get anything going, and they're already behind the sticks.
Well, and it's, the holding penalties, those happen. So the pre-snap ones drive me up a wall. Getting lined up right and coming to the line of scrimmage and the play clock going down, and you're changing the play. You're a quarterback. You can't do that. You got to run the play. You can't change it. Or call timeout, one or the other. And so there's too much of that. And I think a lot of that has to do with, Travis Hunter has problems lining up. We know that. Yeah, that's been an issue. And that might be because, so much on his plate, that's hard to get it all down. Yeah. So, but they have to use him on offense because he's such a playmaker on offense. We saw that on Sunday. So they have to get into that. Also, when you look at Trevor doesn't ever feel like he's in that control state. You know what I mean? He's always looking over. Let's get the play call in. Instead of, he's not telling them, give me the play, let's go. And if you don't get it in a time, go to the line and call something. Just run it.
There's no flow,
and
it doesn't feel like.
Yeah. Nothing. There's no flow to the offense at all.
So this situation, it's something that I didn't even think about going into this year, but now that I'm seeing it come to fruition, it makes a little more sense. So it reminds me of when I went to Kansas City from Jacksonville. This is back in 2013. We won 2 games the previous year. Gus Bradley comes in. I go to Kansas City. Andy Reid's first year there. They also won 2 games, but it's like, this locker room doesn't feel like a team that just had a 2-game, win season. Like, you had seasoned veterans. You had the Eric Berrys, the Tamba Alis, the Justin Houstons, Alex Smith on offense, Jamal Charles, Dwayne Bowe. Like, you had a bunch of guys that you got there and it seemed like, you know what, this whatever happened last year, but this team's going to be special. I look at what Liam Cohen came from in Tampa, and he turned it around in 1 year. But you look at the guys that he had in that roster. You had Mike Evans. You had Chris Godwin. You had an offensive line that had Super Bowl caliber experience. You have guys like Tristan Wirfs, who are considered some of the best offensive linemen in the entire NFL. And you had that there in Tampa. And then you come here with Brian Thomas Jr., who's still very young. Travis Hunter still learning the position. Parker Washington still very young. And I just wonder if Liam Cohen came here expecting, I can run what I ran in Tampa, and now he's starting to realize, like, this group of guys still has to learn how to play the game the right way, as opposed to having the veterans that you had with the Buccaneers.
Because it's a very complicated offense.
It's
hard. And I talked to Baker Mayfield about that offense in the spring, and he said, look, there's a lot on your plate at the line of scrimmage, and you have to be good at that. And by the way, we talk about Wirfs and the receivers and Mike Evans and everything. The biggest difference is Baker Mayfield compared to Trevor Lawrence. That's the biggest difference right now. Baker knows how to run the offense. Baker has that swagger, the players respond to him. Do the players respond to Trevor? I mean, that's a legitimate question. And by the way, I love Trevor. I think he's a great kid. He's got a ton of talent. But right now, it's just, sometimes you go, yeah, it's great, or it's bad. You know what it is right now? It just is. That's all it is. It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not awful. It just is. And when you're that guy, it's got to be much better than just is.
And, and like, without having to be a therapist as a head coach, but I think this could be the problem that you had with the last regime, where they didn't really know how to get through to their quarterback. And I think you have Liam Cohen now, and I agree with you, Pete. I agree with you, both of you, where you go from Baker Mayfield, who I feel like has a lot of the same characteristics of Liam Cohen, right? Like, Liam Cohen's not afraid to say what's up to Robert Saleh on the sidelines after the game. Well, Baker Mayfield's not afraid to go to the stands before the game and, say what he says, then come out the second half and be like, I told you, right? So I think they have a lot of the same characteristics. You don't necessarily see that with Trevor. Not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, I would rather have you be yourself than put on a facade and be something that you're not. But I still think it's on Liam Cohen of you got to find out what makes Trevor Lawrence tick and try to get the best out of him.
It's about getting
fire
that
in the
leadership.
belly. I call it fire in the belly.
Yeah.
I mean, does he have fire in the belly? I mean, that's the question. Somebody asked me this the other day. I was talking to somebody in the league, and they saw the end of the game against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and they showed the celebration in the locker room. And it was almost like, okay, you just beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and he I don't know. He's just.
I think your coach is more fired up than some of the players can be at times.
Am I wrong to say that? Or do you guys agree with me on that?
No, I think I can see that as well. And I feel like when we talk about Liam Cohen's energy, right, he's someone that you want to play for. Coach Campanile is somebody you want to really go out there and play for. And sometimes you need your teammates to be like, that guy's busting his butt on every single play. I'm going to do the same thing. And I think sometimes, depending where it is, you don't always get that. And then the energy's not there from the players. But that was our opening drive presented to you by Target Zero. Let's get everyone home safely. We are just beginning. There is a ton to get to, much more to come here. We're going to talk a little bit about those penalties, what they looked like out of the gate after spending the whole week in the UK. So this is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
When it's your money, your business, or your home, you deserve a partner who sees and hears you. A partner who is by your side every step of the way. That's Ameris Bank. It's a commitment we're proud to make, and one we back up by providing financial solutions to empower you. Because at the end of the day, we are dedicated advocates for you. Visit your local branch or learn more at amerisbank.com. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, all loans subject to credit approval.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup. Thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers. The ultimate game day team.
You wouldn't have guessed that we were here for a week prepared, ready to go play in this atmosphere by looking at it in terms of the way we started the game.
Certainly would not have guessed. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick, Austin Lane, Pete Prisco with me. Pete, they went out there. They heard the sports science was good. They needed to go, early to get acclimated to the time. And the Rams flew in about, day of practically and looked like they'd been there all week. It looked like the flip-flop of what you would have thought.
Well, look at you. You have 4 hours of sleep, and you're already out doing JP every Monday. So you got that.
Doesn't take much to outdo JP.
No. I mean, look, the bottom line is, I don't know if there's a right way or wrong way to do that. You got to go play football. Mm-hmm. And Austin, you know that. You've traveled across country to play games. Once you get inside the white lines, you get hit in the mouth, you go play.
Yeah.
And sure, it's different. It's a challenge, but I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to do that. I mean, you guys were there the whole week. Mm-hmm. By Sunday, were you rejuvenated and feeling good?
I was ready to leave by then, but I did feel better. Like I do say, when we go, sometimes we've gone on Thursday and you play on Sunday, right? That first day or two, you don't feel great. So I think that's what they were trying to avoid. But for me, I was just surprised. Like the effort didn't really feel there, right? And I know you can always, there's times where people start slow, what have you, what have not. This was a huge game for Liam Cohen going up against, and James Gladstone for that matter too. Obviously, they're both from the Rams organization. This is what they want to model their product after. And to go out there and really just feels like they didn't show up for their coach a little bit. I don't know if it's that simple. I don't think they were quitting on their coach by any means, but just to kind of know how big of a game this was to him and just kind of not see the effort right away was probably really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put a lot of stake into whether you left on Friday, whether you got a weekend or not. I mean, I think there's arguments for both cases. I think the argument against it would be, well, you had a lot of guys banged up. Would they have been better sleeping in their own beds, kind of doing what they familiarly do in terms of treatment and everything and staying in Jacksonville? They chose to leave early. Like, at the end of the day, that's not what happened. That's not why they look like they look like, right? Like, and now I'm sure teams are gonna be like, well, look what the Rams did. Now we have to copy that whole thing. No, that's not the case at all. It's just, I think one team played sound football and one team just looked a little more lackadaisical and didn't do their job like they're supposed to.
Well, here's the other part of that equation, though. The Rams, when they play an East Coast game, travel, 5 hours it is probably, isn't it? Yeah, 6 hours.
Yeah.
So if they stayed on the East Coast after playing the Ravens, so that was a normal road trip for them when they like
something
going
they're
east,
used to
when
doing.
They go so it wasn't any different. So it made sense for them to do it that way. I didn't mind that at all, to be honest with you. But I'm with Austin. Look, whether you go early or go the night before the game or whatever, once you get out on the field, you go play. You can't. Our legs. Did anybody say their legs weren't there? I didn't hear that.
Nope.
I mean, so I don't. They can't use that as an excuse at all.
I think travel is always kind of the excuse when you don't play the way you want to play, but I don't think it came down to that either. I did want to mention, we talked a little bit about penalties, 13 accepted penalties, I think 16 overall, 119 yards. And for me, we've seen a bunch of ones on offense where, maybe they're in motion, what's going on. Also, we'll touch on that a little bit later because the wide receivers screaming we got Parker and Travis Hunter last week screaming at the ref about whether they're lined up correctly. They got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But this week we saw a bunch of defensive penalties, Pete, which, I know they're getting beat some of the time, but you got Dewey, Jordan Lewis. I think they had the one sack they had got called off because of offsides or holding. I can't remember the exact play. It's just out of character, and this one was tough on Dewey. I don't really know what you do on that play. That wasn't really one.
That wasn't a penalty.
But his next one was. Yeah. And I think, Jordan Lewis getting beat, I think he had 2 on one play. That's a little bit out of characteristic, and I think we've seen the defense look a lot different since they haven't been getting takeaways, and maybe without Devin Lloyd as well.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that was because of Devin Lloyd. Look, Devin Lloyd's made some big plays, but look, even the Chiefs game, he made a great play, but it wasn't great in that game. I think when you get takeaways like they got them, and remember, they almost went to a Super Bowl with a defense that got a ton of takeaways and really wasn't that good. When you get takeaways, at times it kind of masks who you are as a defense. It covers it up. And now we have seen the last 2 weeks they haven't had a takeaway. Mm-hmm. And we've seen what they look like.
Yeah.
Guys in the secondary had their worst games on Sunday. Wingard was awful. Mm-hmm. And forget about that penalty in the end zone. And I came out, remember early in the season, Austin, when I said I thought he was the most improved player on the team?
Yeah, I mean, I was with you, man. I thought it was kind of like the feel-good story of the Jaguars, yes.
Last couple weeks, not so good.
Yeah.
And Jordan Lewis had hit by far and away his worst game on Sunday.
He did.
And here's the other part of that equation. Why the hell isn't Travis Hunter playing corner?
I thought you had the answer, Pete. I came into this, I was like, Pete will know what's going on, because also
here's my theory on it. Nobody's told me this, but they said it at times during the leading up to the process, but they need him so much on offense that they're reluctant to use him all those plays on defense. That's
if you're down 21-0, it doesn't matter. Like, they're getting cooked. They needed him out there.
And by the way, against Seattle, against Kansas City, he was their best corner, and it wasn't even close.
He is still the best corner on this roster.
Mm-hmm. He has to play corner. I would play him at corner and then use him wide receiver. Here's the part of the problem that's thrown into the whole mix and why he's being used on offense as much as he is. Brian Thomas. There's your problem right there.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
When we talk about Travis Hunter, and I said this week one, and I was afraid it was going to be a problem, but you kept on winning football games, so it was kind of pushed off to the side. Now you're losing in this fashion. Now it gets brought back to the table. The usage of Travis Hunter is an issue right now. And I understand that maybe you want to keep things a little under wraps because you feel like it's a competitive advantage. But at some point, there has to be some sort of semblance of he's going to play this much on offense and this much on defense. Not for the media or not for me at home to know, okay, this is how it's going to look. I think just for him, Pete. Because if he doesn't have the touchdown yesterday, if he doesn't get all the targets in the second half, I think we were this close to having maybe a little bit of a Twitter meltdown or like a Twitch stream meltdown because he looked frustrated yesterday. I think some of that is him not playing defense. I think some of that is him not getting the ball in the first half, but it looked like a player who was this close to saying, what are we doing here? And I think if it was a guy like Malik Neighbors, if it was a guy like Jamar Chase or somebody like that with more of a diva type of persona, I think we would have heard this long ago. But I think Travis Hunter, being as humble and fun-loving as he is, being the ultimate team player, we've heard nothing out of him. I think we're getting close to hearing something out of him, but thankfully he got the targets second half and he got the touchdown. I
was telling Kai, but when we were watching the tape today, there's the play that Brian Thomas Jr. dropped in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. And on that play, Travis Hunter is clearing for what should have been a touchdown. You can't fault, it was third, I think it was third down when he dropped it. So you're taking what you have there, and that should have been a catch, keep the chains moving and go. But Hunter didn't get the ball, and then he saw the drop, and you could see his frustration as he kind of skipped across the field and he was kind of waving his arms, and he was frustrated. And he should be. I love him on offense. I think he's great on offense. But he's a 10 times better corner than he is a wide receiver. It just so happens that Brian Thomas Jr., not getting it done. And for whatever reason, he's just not getting it done. The other guys, look, De'Ami Brown, he's a guy. Parker Washington, good football player, but should be a third receiver, a fourth receiver. And so they have to use Travis Hunter on offense. And that's why I think he's not playing as much defense.
So you mentioned that one play to Brian Thomas Jr. I think another play that stood out to me was they're probably like at the Rams maybe 30 or 20-yard line or whatever, and Trevor throws to Travis. It's a little high. He gets one hand on it, can't make the completion. Mm-hmm. It was a bad throw. And then he gets he gets grass in his helmet. And you see him run towards the huddle, and Trevor's trying to pull the grass off his helmet. Watch the reaction of Travis Hunter in that situation. Because I've been there, and listen, and it's something that goes so under wraps or whatever. But I've been there. If a teammate's gonna help me out, I'm like, hey man, appreciate you. There's nothing. He stands there like, man, don't touch me right now. That's what it looked like. So I think you have a guy who's obviously frustrated. I think you can curb some of that frustration of how he's being used by being completely upfront. Listen, we've never seen this before. You're playing this much on offense and playing this much on defense. I think if you establish that, and we don't have to know it, Pete, but I don't think he knows it either right now.
And it changes week to week, and I'm sure that's frustrating for him as well because he wants to be out there as much as he can, but to go from playing, I think he had 67 offensive snaps, the most we've seen of him, only 14 on defense. We didn't see him until the third quarter after they were down 21-0 at that point. So I think consistency all around, maybe taking some time on this bye week and figuring out exactly what they want him to look like is a good idea. We got a ton more to come up here on Happy Hour. Of course, we're going to talk more about these drops from the wide receivers, what they can do to get Travis Hunter more involved on both sides of the football. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans. Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup, thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
Jaguars fans, it's time to show up and show out. Get game day ready with fresh gear from Fanatics. Rock your teal and black with the new Sideline collection, head-turning headwear, and exclusive drops you won't find anywhere else. Visit any of our 11 convenient locations throughout the stadium and rep your Jags in style. The Jaguars Pro Shop, a Fanatics experience.
Hey, Duval, here's your chance to be face-to-face with the Jags as they take the field on game day. Jump in the shadows and experience the Jaguars like never before. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows for your chance to be part of the action. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C., 18 and older. Entry periods for the sweepstakes are from 8/4/25 to 12/21/25. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank, N.A. member FDIC.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
We just have to go out there and perform the way we need to. We have to go out there and play the position that we play as far as the drops, and have to be on the same page and able to communicate at the end of the day. I think even with the penalties, that's something that you can easily fix, easily clean up, but it's been repetitive. I don't know, we just got to figure it out.
Execution an issue, drops an issue. Kai in for JP today. Austin Lane, Pete Prisco with me on Happy Hour in the Hyundai Studios. So we talked a little bit about Trevor and some of the issues we saw out of him, but Austin, these drops are getting, I mean, we've talked about it. It's communication on both sides and it's trust on both sides. I think we talk a lot about earning the trust of Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know if these wide receivers have full trust in Trevor. And that to me is more telling than other things. They're like, oh, they don't want to go over the middle and whatnot. But like, I feel a little bit more like maybe they're not trusting the ball's going to be in the right place or they're being put in the best position either.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. is the biggest culprit right now when we talk about the drops and everything, but you saw it with Parker Washington too. And you go back,
Brown as well.
You go back to the first quarter, Parker Washington across the middle, the ball's a little high, Washington gets hit, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, let's go back to that play again, what happens? And then he drops it. So this is a lingering problem right now, and listen, I wish I had the solution for it. I mean, I can't believe we're having the conversation, but I think with Brian Thomas Jr., he has to stop running across the middle. Like, it's just not going to work. And I had, I give Liam Cohen credit for trying to get him out of the funk, trying to get him more confidence. But I don't know how many weeks in a row now we're talking about, how many drops we're talking about now, where when Brian Thomas Jr. goes across the middle, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. And at some point, you have to ask the question if, whether you can tailor make plays on the outside for Brian Thomas Jr. or you have to find somebody else, because it's an issue right now, Pete. And it's an issue when, it's third down, when you need it. And this is when the drops are happening.
I remember when I was there training camp and talking to the people in the building, and even Liam Combs said it. I mean, they were not catching the football, and they were concerned. He wasn't catching 50-50 balls. He was dropping a lot of passes, and they still can't figure out why. How can a kid go from what he was a year ago? And by the way, I was on the podium screaming loud, this kid's going to be one of the star receivers in this league. I thought he was going to chase Jeffersonville, and he's not even close. And I don't know why. I don't understand it. I don't think it's a matter of just getting hit in that Pittsburgh game. That was a big hit.
Yeah.
But it's more than that.
And it was before that, too, Pete, because you mentioned it. This was training camp. He didn't look great in OTAs.
And I remember in Miami at the workouts down there, remember he had a good practice, and they were like, finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why, though? And, Jimmy Smith, who played in Jacksonville, is a borderline Hall of Famer. Some people think he should be in. That's a whole nother question. But, and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy is killing Brian Thomas.
He's got a lot to say
on
on
Twitter.
social. Yes, he is.
Interesting.
And not just, and for little things. He says his stance is too high.
Okay.
He says he's the last one off the ball. When I went back and watched it, he's not fast out of his stance. He's just not. And I noticed there are times where he almost looks like he's gliding rather than running his route.
Okay.
That's not loafing, but because it's hard to get a gauge on a guy that makes it look easy at times when he's running. And then the drops. I mean, the ball's on the sideline where he had it in his hands, that one ball. You got to catch that. It wasn't a great decision. It wasn't a great throw, but you still got to go. A great receiver goes up and catches that ball. You didn't catch it. Mm-hmm. Those are, and then the easy one in the middle. Come on, you got to make that play. It's just I've never seen a guy go from where I thought he was going to what he is now. And what he is now, if you had to rank their receivers right now, where's he rank?
I mean,
I
have Parker Washington ahead of him right now.
Maybe 3.
I mean, yeah, possibly 3. Obviously, Travis Hunter is ahead of him. I think in terms
and
of
I thought he might be 3
Browns,
or 4 in the league by this time during the season.
Same.
What we saw last year was unreal. What happened?
Yeah. Well,
somebody needs to go to him and tell him, get your head out of your butt. Go. It's time to go. But you have star power, dude.
But Pete, this is where I think the accountability and the coaching has to come into play here. Like, if you say that he's the last off the line in terms of his stance, if you say, he's got bad technique out of his breaks, if we're saying obviously there's not a focus in terms of catching the football, then coach has got to step up and start holding people accountable, right? I remember going to Detroit when I played there for a couple of weeks and being in absolute awe of Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, freak of nature, runs whatever, a 4.3 40, 6'5", but I was surprised of how much he worked at his craft, even later on in his career, right? Like, this was a guy I felt like, dude, if I'm Calvin Johnson, I'm that size and I'm not fast, I'm going to sleep in, show up when I want, and I'm going to catch footballs. This guy is one of the first ones out there going through his routes. This guy was one of the last to leave at the jugs machine, making sure the ball's in his hands. Like, that's what it takes. And maybe, Brian Thomas Jr.'s his biggest detriment right now is that he got comfortable after the first season. But then if you're Liam Cohen, if you're company, if you're the skill position coach, whatever, then you got to hold that guy accountable and say, hey, man, we aren't doing the little things properly right now. Let's get back to the basics.
And people want to blame the wide receiver coach, Edgar Bennett. I've known Edgar for a long time. Edgar coached some really good receivers in this league. And he's done Devontae Adams he's coached a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I don't think it's Edgar. I really don't. I think it's the kid. And the kid has to figure it out. When you teach a kid to put his foot in the ground and snap that route off, he's a bender. If you watch his routes, he's a gliding bender. And defensive backs don't respect that.
Yeah.
And they should. They don't.
And I think we gave him a lot of credit last season, right? Especially in the back half when he's having a lot of success. But that was with Mac Jones. And the tape's out now. And there wasn't a lot of options. He was getting the ball thrown to him, 15 plus times because back half of the season, there was nobody playing. And now that, he was probably the focus for a lot of defenses coming in this year, they've made that a point. And now that there's some tentativeness there, they very much latched onto that, and it feels like it's almost hard to work when your weaknesses are shown that way, Austin.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and it's wild that we're having this conversation because if you go week 1 against Carolina, and I'm the Carolina DC right now, I'm in the board in front of my team, I'm like, all right, who are the game wreckers? Brian Thomas Jr.'s first, right? Hands down. If I'm Pete Carroll right now and I'm planning this defense in a couple weeks to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't have Brian Thomas Jr. on my game record list. Like, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about Travis Hunter. I'm worried about the run game a little bit, but, like, Brian Thomas Jr. isn't there. So I'm at a loss for words, really, Pete, because I think this was one of the conversations I was not expecting to have halfway through the season almost of the downfall, if you will, of Brian Thomas Jr. And I really don't know, like, how you get out of it because you've seen this offense now try to feature him. You've seen them try to go, okay, it's one bad game, we're on to the next one. And now it's just, it is who you are, right? Like, you're entitled to have a bad game. Everyone's going to have a bad game, some drops, okay. But this is your identity now. And your identity is you're an offensive-minded team that doesn't have a wide receiver 1 at the moment.
Okay, and here's the other thing. When you watch Travis Hunter play wide receiver, you see joy in his game. You see, even when he's not getting the football, you can tell he runs his routes hard. He loves you can see enthusiasm. He just lives to play football. Brian Thomas plays the game like it's a job. You know what I mean? And we know it is. It's a job. But you got to have some boyish enthusiasm for your job. Do you see that from him ever?
No, Pete, I don't. But I also played against a guy named Andre Johnson who showed zero emotion as one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen. Right? So, like, every wide receiver is different.
Andre Johnson had the skills where he didn't need to worry about that.
No, without a doubt. And at the end of the day, like, listen, I'll take the humble type over the look at me diva type any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And like that's what I think we all praised last year with Brian Thomas Jr. is he's kind of soft spoken and he's reserved. But the problem is when it's going wrong.
And you got to put in the work too.
You got to put in the work as well. But the problem is when it's going wrong, you don't know what's going on.
Though. From what I hear, he puts the work in. He just at practice he kind of glides a little bit at times, which is concerning, and they don't know why. And he blocks. That's the weird thing.
He does usually the buy-in.
As a wide receiver, doesn't care. He blocks. So there's something else there, and they got to figure it out. I don't think he trusts the quarterback either. I think there's that could be an issue too, because you think about it. When he's played with Trevor, never been good. When he played with Mac Jones, he was good. So there might be some kind of trust issue there as well.
And there's not a lot of, on these past teams, Christian Kirk, who's probably Trevor Lawrence's best friend in life, the trust is there. Evan Ingram, the trust is there. And those are relationships they built together. Trevor doesn't have that implicit trust that I can see from the receiver core that he has right now. And I think that's part of what's showing, at least with the disconnect with those two, because we've talked a ton about Trevor trusting them, but the wide receivers don't see. And when it comes to drops, a lot of this is mental. These guys are physically capable. They're talented wide receiver. I think we went in saying this maybe is the most talented position group on the team, right? Or in training camp. But Pete, the drops, what's the mental aspect? How do you even work on that?
Everybody always says go work on the jugs machine. I don't think that that doesn't fix it.
You can trust the jugs machine because that's always in the same spot. Yeah. So
like De'Ami Brown's drop or whatever it was. That to me, and I think Kurt Warner did a good job explaining it. There's something, it wasn't just a drop, it wasn't just a bad throw, it was something between the two of them. Is he supposed to continue? Is he supposed to sit down? Is he supposed, the ball's supposed to be here? And we don't know the answer to that. But it ended up going off his hands and being technically, it wasn't a drop, but it should have been caught. And I think there's a lot of that. Indecision on what you should do on a route, where the ball's going to be, ball placement. And, Trevor's high with a lot of balls. And, that sometimes that's frustrating. And I think that adds to the whole process. And then passing on shots down the field. If you're a receiver and you think you're open and he's checking it down for a 5-yard gain on 3rd and 14, you're frustrated. You're angry about it. And I think you're having some of that as well.
Pete, so then what's this the immediate solution then? Like, if we're talking about Brian Thomas Jr., like, do you look his way less now? Do you elevate somebody and take Brian Thomas Jr.'s spot? Obviously, I think more Travis Hunter is going to be the answer going forward. But like, how do you manage a situation? Because right now, with what you have at wide receiver in terms of your group and everything, like, he's going to be counted on in some capacity, you would think.
I don't think you want to
maybe
shut
the
him down
bye
completely,
week
right?
they could spend time with him in the bye week and get him all straightened out and try and figure that out, because Trevor and Brian Thomas were supposed to be this combination that was going to go for the next 4 or 5 years. Wow, look how great they are. Yeah. They're not anything close to that.
Nope.
Nothing close to it.
And we see Travis Hunter, right? So he had 8 catches, 100 plus yards here, 101 yards, a touchdown. He had 14 targets, so that's a little over 50%. They had to feed it to him late a lot because there wasn't anything going on. Pete, we haven't seen a ton of him on offense. It's the most we've seen of him on offense. I think as he learns the different wide receiver positions, can you force him into it more without compromising what you're doing? I guess you're not having success. You might as well try and force it to him a little bit, but if he's messing up with those pre-snap penalties and all that stuff.
They've got a lot of quick stuff to him. I think the best thing that we saw on Sunday was the fact that he got down the field and they threw it to him. Because everything they've done so far have been quick stuff in the quick game. But now he got down the field, and I think that's something you're going to start seeing more and more of. They threw the one quick screen. It was actually a great play design where it looks like it's going to be the bubble screen to the side, and then he comes underneath it, and the lineman's got to – they missed the block. When they missed the block, there's no tunnel there. If he does make that block, and I think it was Hainsey who missed it, if he makes the block – he's up the alley and he probably goes for 25 yards or something, maybe a touch. Those are the kind of – the design of the play worked, but they didn't block it, so it didn't work. And it's just those little things that are preventing them from going. But the biggest thing that has to happen after the bye, Trevor's got to take the shots down the field. They got to run the ball better, and Brian Thomas needs to start playing like Brian Thomas, because if he doesn't, they got a major problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think this offense right now, the top priority has to be to run the football. Because I think right now defenses are playing too much on their heels, knowing it's going to be a pass because they can shut down the run. I think when the Jaguars have had the best success is the threat to run the football and then work and play action off that. You saw that yesterday with the Rams. That the Rams came out in a lot of 3 tight end looks, 2 tight end looks and everything, and this Jaguars defense wasn't ready for it, right? And you saw it against Seattle as well. And this is where the NFL is going now. The NFL is going back to like the Kubiak offense that he had when I played for Jacksonville and Houston, where it's like, as a defensive lineman, you hate it because it all looks the same. Is it going to be a run? Is it going to be play action? Like, that's what the Jaguars have to be. You can't be a team that wants to sling it 40, 50 times a game and expect to win. It's just they aren't built for that right now.
No, they're not.
From the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power on board gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford is the proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today. All right, when we return, we've talked a ton of offense. We've got to talk a little bit about the defense. No takeaways, some big problems, not a lot of pass rush. I don't know if we have the answers, but we're going to try to figure things out here on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Game day means it's time to get loud, get proud, and get real. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Deep Eddy Vodka brings real flavor made with real ingredients to every tailgate, watch party, and post-game toast. Handcrafted in small batches in Austin, Texas, Deep Eddy Vodka is distilled 10 times and is made with purified Texas water, real fruit juice, and pure cane sugar. Wherever you're cheering on the Jaguars, make every moment a real one with Deep Eddy Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please stay drink responsibly. Deep Eddy Vodka is a product of Deep Eddy Distilling Company, Austin, Texas. 35 to 40% alcohol by volume, distilled from corn.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo.
all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Look closely at the Ford F-150, and you'll see more than just a truck. You'll see hard work, a great adventure, and so much more. Inside and out, it's designed for the family, the road trip, and the most demanding job. Just another reason why Ford F-Series has been the best-selling truck in America for 48 straight years. The Ford F-150. It's time to see Ford in a new light. Come in today for a great deal on a 2025 Ford F-150. Only at your local Ford dealer.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
Chelsea here, ready to upgrade your windows or patio doors? During our fall savings month, get 20% off your replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, or 0 interest for 12 months. Our Acclaim Impact windows are built for Florida homes, designed to help you save on energy bills by maintaining indoor temperatures year-round. Offer ends October 31st. Restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation. License number CGC 1527613. Renewal by Anderson, where comfort meets savings.
We all know who we are as players, how we want to play, how we want to take the field every single day. It's just, when we start being ourselves, I think that's when, all that goes out the window. So I think that's where it starts. It starts internally. And, if you're a guy that's constantly making those mistakes, I don't know. It could be talking about myself, it could be talking about anybody. We have to look at those mistakes and hold yourself accountable and, do it for the team. And, again, find a way to get better. And that's where we're at right now.
2 losses in a row for the Jaguars, and I think frustrating because it feels like a lot of self-inflicted wounds, whether it's penalties or just misalignments, pre-snap penalties on offense too, but saw a bunch on defense. Austin Lane, Pete Prisco here with me. I'm filling in for JP. And the pass rush, Austin, we haven't seen much of anything. And I know Trayvon's been playing with cast on one hand, and we haven't been seeing a ton from maybe the middle of the line, but to go the last couple of weeks where you're allowing 7 sacks on the other side of the ball both weeks, so 14 sacks allowed, and then haven't gotten to the quarterback at all from the defensive line.
So this is one of the downsides, I think, of winning, is that sometimes it can mask a lot of things. And I think so far through the winning time was that it masked a little bit of the pass rush, because yes, you were getting interceptions, against the Kansas City game. You had Lloyd, who, essentially saw Patrick Mahomes' eyes, goes to the ball, gets a 99-yard interception for a touchdown. Like, that was great and everything. But what gets lost in those games is there wasn't a lot of pass rush. And yeah, if you want to look at the box score, Josh Hines-Allen not really getting home. Trayvon Walker dealing with the club and everything. But it's so much more than that. It's interior-wise right now. I think Eric Armstead is still the leading quarterback sack getter of this team, but interior-wise, they're not really getting home either. And you're seeing right now a defense that doesn't really have a lot of answers in terms of generating pressure. They're trying to blitz people. They're trying to do everything, and they can't get home, Pete. And you saw yesterday Matthew Stafford absolutely tear this team apart when they wanted to blitz.
Yeah, and I thought early in the game they might blitz more. Remember the first play of the game, they got pressure, they blitzed, they came a bunch of different ways. And then they kind of backed off of it a little bit. And then when they did it spotty, you mentioned Josh Hines-Allen. Look, he's not getting the guy on the quarterback on the ground. He's playing really good football, though. And if you look at the tape, there's 2 guys on him. Every team knows I got to take him away. Without Trayvon Walker on the other side, because he's not there. I don't care what they say. What did he play? 18 plays?
I think it was 18 snaps.
He's not the same with that club, man.
You can't shed. You can't get off guys, and I think that's a problem. When he's not there, Agba, Smoot, they're not line up and win kind of guys. They're good effort players, particularly Smoot. That's who they are. The interior, you talk about that. Armstead. Okay. Smith has had a couple pressures here. He actually had a couple. I think he got credited with 2 of them yesterday. Hamilton doesn't give you any pass rush at all. And so you don't get a lot of pressure inside. And when you don't get pressure inside, they just run, Hines Allen up the field, and all of a sudden you don't have any pressure. But, yeah, in fairness to him, I'm going to give him credit because he's played actually good football. He just can't get the quarterback on the ground. Did he not get credit at all for that when there was a sack? Did he not get the credit for that?
It was a penalty.
Yeah, that half sack, it got wiped off. Yeah.
But there was
another one where he almost got him, but he got away, and then he got the ball off.
That's right.
I think he got maybe a QB hit or something like that.
Yeah, he's actually played good football, and they know every team. We talk about teams know who to take away.
Yeah,
they're putting two guys over there. They're chipping them. They're hitting them, and they don't because they know there's nothing on the other side right now because Trayvon Walker's just showing himself. I mean, he probably shouldn't be playing. By the way,
he probably shouldn't be.
Yeah. I think at some point you have to ask yourself: Are you doing more harm than good right now?
I still think he's better than not having him out there, even at whatever capacity it is. Just because
he made one play where he looped inside and knocked the guard back. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He did that, but you're right. But he can't use that hand. Yeah. And when you can't use that hand, you're playing one-handed, and it's hard to rush the passer one-handed.
I think the hope with him, at least from what we've heard, is that take this bye week. I think hopefully going into Vegas, or if not the next week, he'll be able to play with a different cast where he'll get his use of his hands back a little bit and hopefully get a little bit more back to the Trayvon we are used to seeing. But a lot more. That was the first hour of Happy Hour. We're going to be back with you, of course, as we discuss much more. We'll keep it real. We'll answer the fan questions. All of that here on Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Game day means it's time to get loud, get proud, and get real. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Deep Eddy Vodka brings real flavor made with real ingredients to every tailgate, watch party, and post-game toast. Handcrafted in small batches in Austin, Texas, Deep Eddy Vodka is distilled 10 times and is made with purified Texas water, real fruit juice, and pure cane sugar. Wherever you're cheering on the Jaguars, make every moment a real one with Deep Eddy Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please stay drink responsibly. Deep Eddy Vodka is a product of Deep Eddy Distilling Company, Austin, Texas. 35 to 40% alcohol by volume, distilled from corn.
It's game on, Jaguars fans, no matter where you might be. From the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power on board gives you the power of a mobile generator. So as long as you've got a TV and a signal, you don't have to miss another game. Just one more reason why Ford F-Series has been the best-selling truck in America 48 straight years and counting. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
My husband, Steve, was diagnosed with prostate cancer. They only gave him months to live. That was years ago. Now, he's out there, under the tree. Nature photography is his thing. And apparently, so is catching poison ivy.
Oof, so itchy. UF Health, human progress has no finish line.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup, thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
I feel like we're really growing together, and we're getting better. But today, I feel like we had to step back. And then as a leader, I feel like that's definitely one of me being a key part in that. But I let the guys know that I let them down, and they appreciated me. But like I said, man, I really do love them, and we're gonna get better. And I know I've been through my fair share of adversity, so I think we can get through this.
Welcome back into your second hour of Happy Hour. Kainani Stevens filling in for JP Shadrick as he travels back from London. Austin Lane, Pete Prisco are with me, and the second hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, during the game, anytime there's Mr. Chubby's, it's a good time. We'll briefly go back over things. That was Jordan Lewis, one of your captains, coming in from Dallas, a veteran player. Probably his worst game that we've seen thus far with the Jaguars, because he's been great other than that. Some penalties, just frustrating all around on the defensive side of the football. As we mentioned earlier, 13 accepted penalties, over 100 penalty yards. It's very difficult to win a football game that way. And now the Jags are 4-3 heading into the bye week after that 35-7 loss to the Rams at Wembley Stadium. And getting down 21-0 early, they sleepwalked into it a little bit, because when you look at the stats, it doesn't look crazy. Just with those penalties combined, it was very short fields for the Rams, and they took advantage. Matthew Stafford completely took advantage of what was given to him and really kind of ate away at that secondary a little bit. And we haven't talked about it because you guys haven't been on the show in a couple of weeks, but they made that trade, sent Tyson Campbell to Cleveland and got Greg Newsome Jr. in return. And Tyson hadn't been playing great, Austin, but that does switch up some of the dynamic in the secondary, and it feels like they haven't quite figured it out yet. Yes, they played two great teams, so I don't want to just put it on that, but they haven't quite figured that out yet.
You know, I couldn't help but notice yesterday, and I think this might have been the second Adams touchdown, the third one. I know there were so many of them.
There were many.
But there was a couple of them, right? But when Adams was on single coverage, I think with Buster Brown, if I'm not mistaken, and Adams just literally goes like this to Stafford, and Stafford checks it, and it's like, okay, that they knew what was going on. I couldn't help in that instance know, like, if Tyson Campbell was out there on Devontae Adams, would Tyson Campbell have made a difference? And I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but, you know, I think I talked about this on a different show, but, like, when you're a defensive guy and you're coming to a different team, like, yeah, maybe the playbook's minimal, but it takes time to get ingrained in terms of who you're playing with next to and everything. In terms
of the trust there as well. They're going to be in the right spot,
right? So, you know, we haven't seen the full capabilities yet, I feel like, of a Newsome. But at the same time, right now, I see Tyson Campbell get a pick six, and he's doing his thing. And then you see Newsome, and it's like, okay, wasn't the best game. It's not a good look right now, Pete.
Yeah, but Campbell's pick six kind of was an accident. Some guy made
also, assist from Rayshon Jenkins, our other old friend, by the way.
Yeah. It wasn't like he jumped the route and took it back or anything. But so, look, I know why they made the move. Newsome fits what they want to do. He plays better looking at the field than Tyson Campbell does.
And he gets
that
his head
contract
around,
was brutal, by the way. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
No, the previous regime threw money around like they printed it at times for guys that probably shouldn't have got that money. And that was part of the process. But you're right. It's going to take – the bye week is probably good for Newsome. He needs to get up to speed on everything. And what's the safety, trust? And you go back to the Smith and Jigba play against Seattle. Where was Dewey on that play?
So we're starting to see – we didn't talk about this when we talked about Dewey, but we're starting to see now of an issue with Dewey in terms of he's playing he's playing way up too much.
And he doesn't have the speed to get
And he doesn't have the speed to recover. Right, I mean, and I can't remember who the tight end was who he got burnt by as well against Seattle. Guy ran like a 4.8.
The backup, the rookie.
Yeah, whoever he was.
It's always a name of someone you don't know too with the tight ends against this team.
It was the fourth tight end. I think he's the rookie from Oregon.
Okay,
what's his name?
Well, no, that's the
Ferguson,
guy
right?
from I'm talking about the guy from Seattle though.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, but yeah,
Ferguson,
2 weeks
ago. Oh, that was Barner. AJ.
Okay, Barner. Yeah, AJ Barner ran a 4.8. Right, and like you see this happen with safety sometimes, where you get sucked in a little too much, whether it's play action, whether it's fourth and short, and like, okay, I'm gonna get sucked up. but you have to recover off that. And right now, for whatever reason, whether it was Barner or whether it was the play yesterday, you have a safety who's coming down thinking it's going to be a run, and he can't recover. And that's not Dewey's game. So I would much rather see him in the strong safety, stacking the box, stopping the run, than maybe playing a little more of like a center fielder where it's like, hey, I'm responsible for the back end, because that's not his game.
Yeah,
and the last 2 weeks has been really bad. Let's be real, because I praised him early in the season. I gave him all his flowers, and
I think
we
we
got to
all
be honest
did.
about it. The last 2 weeks have been terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because of personnel changes as well, or kind of the book getting out, because I think they're picking on him a little bit at times, at least the last couple of weeks with Dewey. And then
and Murray wasn't as good yesterday.
He was, and he's been playing with that neck injury. I think he left the game as well again yesterday. That neck injury's been lingering, so we've seen him not in there as well. And then you're getting down to, Antonio Johnson, whoever they can put in, just with bodies at that point. Pete, why can't Travis Hunter play cornerback all the time? I know we want him on offense, but you're supposed to play both. He's your best cornerback. It is so frustrating to not see him in the whole first half of a football game.
Yeah, I would play him at corner. He would be on the field. And by the way, I'm glad you brought him back up again, because there is a national narrative out there, however misguided it might be, that they blew this pick.
The only way they're going to blow it is if they don't play him more.
It's not an indictment of Travis as a player, but the fact that you traded up to go get him, gave up a one next year to go get him, and you're only using him on one side of the ball, or mostly on one side of the ball, is not a good move.
It's not.
If he's playing both sides of the ball, and he's starring on both sides of the ball, which he's entirely capable of doing, by the way, then it's a great move. So I'm with you guys. He's got to be a starting corner and a starting wide receiver. And he's got to play both. For that, because otherwise you could have gone into the draft and said, let's see, we could have taken a corner this year or a wide receiver. Say they took Tech McMillan from the Carolina. The Panthers picked him. You take Tech McMillan, then you go back in the next year's draft with your pick, and you get a corner who plays full-time and can be a top 15 corner. Are you better off that way than you are with Travis Hunter only playing limited snaps at corner and limited snaps at wide receiver? And the answer to that question, by the way, is hell yes. So he's got to play both. They have to play him full-time at corner.
And here's the thing, too. I was skeptical. I think one of the hardest positions to go from college to the pros is the cornerback position. Just because the speed changes, the coverages change, and to go against some of the best wide receivers in the league, it's a far cry away from playing, Pac-12 or whatever you're playing. I'm sorry, Big 12. I think the Big 12. Big 12 against teams whoever you're playing against, Colorado State, right?
Arizona State, but
Arizona
don't say
State.
it because I went there.
Oh yeah, sorry, but yeah, that Arizona State. Yeah, there we go. But he's shown he's giving you no reason not to trust him. He's shown that he's the best cover guy. You're down 21 points. You finally put him on Devontae Adams, and he makes a play on him, right? So if you have a player right now that is giving you no reasons why you can't trust him either on offense or on defense, then it's on you to use him accordingly. And I agree with you. I think that there needs to be more of a usage because he's shown that he can handle it on both sides of the ball. So I think going forward, he's your best corner. He's your best wide receiver. You have to use him as such.
I still haven't seen him look winded yet, so go for it.
Well, the 2 weeks before, when he played against Smith and Jigba, he did a really nice job when he was lined up with them. And when he played against Worthy, he did a really nice job when he lined up against them. Those are two speedy guys who can run. And Smith and Jigba's been outstanding.
Pete, we didn't talk about this because we didn't have the show, but my favorite play from that Chiefs game, and I get there's a couple to choose from Travis Hunter, was the fact that Travis Hunter, on that go route, Worthy beats him a little bit. Hunter recovers and step for step with him and, defends the ball, and he's in the end zone and he's celebrating. That Xavier Worthy ran a 4.2, whatever it was.
Yeah.
To have
and Hunter has the recovery speed. That's why he needs to play.
To have the skill set to on a go route where it's full speed, to turn your hips, to turn your shoulders, and you're step for step with Xavier Worthy tells you all you need to know about how good of a cover corner Travis Hunter is.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense again, but specifically the run game, right? This offense, when it has been effective, has been the run game. I looked at the game book right now. 13 carries from your two running backs yesterday. And that was a lot of that was late too with garbage. So I know they're getting penalties. I know they're getting behind it, but seeing the success, even when they're running it. They're getting 5 yards a carry. Is there a way to do this, Pete? Is it play calling? Is he just getting away from it, trying to get so focused on the pass game? How do you get back into it and force the running game to get going?
Well, part of the problem is the passing game isn't very good. And when the passing game is not very good, they bring somebody down and they say, go ahead and we're going to dare you to throw the ball. And I think that's added to the problems with the run game. The other part of it is, and I said it early in the show, McCary, they brought him in there to be a starting guard and be a good one. And for 3 games, he was pretty good. The last 2 weeks, and it's particularly on Sunday, he was not good. And when your guard's not good, there's going to be penetration. They're getting up the field on him. And when they get up the field, it's tough to run. Here's the other part that we're missing. No Strange.
Yeah.
When he's not in the lineup, the edge doesn't get blocked like it does when he's in the lineup. And so you got a lot of penetration. But 13 carries, by the way, not nearly enough. They need to get back to get running the football.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brenton Strange, after these last 2 weeks, I would offer him a lifetime contract because, watching the 49ers last night, PM Metro, if you watched that game, I heard George Kittle's name more than anything for a guy that had 0 receptions, but you saw what he was doing in the run game and how much they missed him with Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey had a monster game because of the blocking of George Kittle. And I think Brenton Strange fits that same mold. So they're definitely missing, Brenton Strange. And obviously you're missing him from the run game, but also he's Trevor's security blanket. Like when stuff hits the wall, that's the first guy you go to. And I don't think Munt, I don't think Long has earned that type of respect yet in terms of if I'm a defense, they're not scaring me running across the middle right now.
Which one of those guys dropped one yesterday? One of them did.
Hunter Long, I think. It was 2 for 3.
Yeah.
And then he had fumbled out of bounds, right?
Yeah. Here's the other thing. They had to use the extra tackle a couple times on the run run game because they don't have Strange. That's why, in large part because they do not have him. And I think that misses. But, back to McCary. When is Milam coming off the injury? It should be maybe after the bye. He might be back.
I think so. I think it's kind of that middle period where, maybe they could push it and he's not active. He's always kind of in the mix, on the injury report, but maybe could be activated at any point. They just haven't kind of made that move. And as you mentioned, bye week coming up, it could be the time to do that.
We thought at one point before the season it might be him taking Cleveland's spot.
I think the other side now.
I'm not so sure he's not going to take the other spot. I mean, let's put it this way. If I was coaching that team right now, my right guard, no matter what his contract is, would be on notice.
Yeah.
That's how bad he was on Sunday.
Pete, I think we have a fan question about your offensive line thoughts, so we might save that for coming up because I think we want to know what your thoughts are for that. I think another thing, we did say this about Strange, but he was probably your most reliable pass catcher when the season started. So you're forgetting that factor as well. Trevor Lawrence also doesn't have Brenton Strange, who is another person that maybe he had some trust in going into this matchup. But we talked a lot going into the week, at least here with Jaguars, about that coaching matchup, right? Liam Cohen going up against Sean McVay, who's one of the best, and just kind of what they want it to be here. I felt it was early to even kind of get into that because he doesn't even have the players he wants yet. He's only been here 6 games. But what was kind of, I guess, a positive is how I'm going to look at it is when you watch Sean McVay's offense run, you see what Liam wants to do, and maybe he doesn't have all the personnel quite yet to get that done.
Yeah.
Or what exactly is going on? The penalties doesn't have the
he doesn't have Matt Stafford either.
Yeah, we would all love a Matt Stafford at this point. Just the poise and what he does out there, just the control, the mastery of that offense. It's hopeful. I'm going to go this way. It's hopeful if they can get things running the way they want to. That's the success that you can see, and you see a little bit of what they want to be doing.
This is what I talked about on the pregame show because obviously Puka Nacua, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, being out, people are making a big deal about it. And I just thought, I don't think the Rams are really worried about Puka Nacua being out because you're not really playing against Puka Nacua. You're not playing against Devonta Adams. You're playing against a Sean McVay scheme. And it doesn't matter who's in there. He's going to find ways to score with the football, right? I mean, we want to talk about it was Ferguson, right? Yeah. So I had no idea who Ferguson was. He scores a touchdown. My son goes, I didn't know he was in the NFL. I go, how do you know him? Well, he played at Oregon. My son's a big Oregon fan. You're seeing players that you've never heard of before making big plays for the team. So you realize, okay, this is more about the scheme than it is about even who the player is. And I think you saw a great game plan from McVay. And to me, it was clear to the Rams on offense. You have a defense that likes to show blitz. You have a defense that likes to bring pressure. McVay countered that by showing run with a bunch of tight ends with a bunch of tight bunch formations, but then they branched off and you had guys wide open because this Jaguars defense wasn't accustomed to trying to cover guys so close to the line of scrimmage. And that's what Sean McVay did. And listen, this game could have been a lot worse, Pete, because if you remember, the second quarter, like a minute left on the clock, they took a knee.
They took a knee. I didn't understand that.
They had a 9-yard gain in the first play, and they took a knee.
Mercy. It was a mercy knee.
That's how I treat my son when I'm whooping his butt in college football and PlayStation, where it's like, okay, buddy, I'm beating you by like 40. I'm like, let's go to halftime. I'll just take the knee and we'll reassess here. Like that game could have been
terrible.
A lot worse.
I was sitting there yelling at we were watching the game, and I'm like, what is he doing? Why wouldn't you go? You had almost 2 minutes to go. And it was like he knew, well, they're not coming back on me, so I'm just going to take
little professional courtesy.
Here's the other thing about real quick on the defense. They didn't even run the ball. The genesis of that Rams offense is to run the ball. That's the basis of it.
They didn't
run
have
it,
to
throw off, play act. They didn't even run the ball.
No,
they didn't barely even try to run the ball. How many carries did they have?
Ooh, what we got?
In the pouring rain as well. It's just
not many. We got Kyron Williams had 12. Corum had 12, it's 24, and then Stafford.
They had 24,
yeah.
and a lot of those came late in the game.
They did.
And so the bottom line. I personally, though, Austin, I would have and if I'm playing the Rams and Nakua's not there, they don't have speed. They have a lot of things, and they don't have speed. Devontae Adams is one of the all-time great route runners in the history of the league.
Yeah.
But he's older, and he never was a burner. So I'm going to beat them. Like, I would have taken Travis Hunter and put him on Devontae Adams and rolled my coverage to everybody else and made sure those boots, if they're not running the ball, those boots where you're getting over pursuing to the run game, they shouldn't be a factor ever. And they really weren't running the ball early in that game. At halftime, I can't imagine they had many yards. The way I watched that game, they didn't run the ball very much in the first half.
No.
So I think they got caught out of position a bunch. They got fooled. Their eyes got fooled a little bit.
Yeah.
And gave them over 100 yards in penalties. Yeah.
Dewey had a rough game. I mean, that was a rough game for Dewey. And Jordan Lewis didn't have a good game either.
You know what? And there's a narrative going around too that it's essentially the teacher beating the student, right? The student still has a lot to learn, which I don't buy at all. I mean, we talk about the Sean McVay coaching tree, and right now it seems to be paying a lot of dividends. Matt LaFleur is undefeated against Sean McVay. I think Matt LaFleur right now in Green Bay is 4-0 against the Rams, right? So, like, that excuse isn't good enough for me either, Pete, where it's like, oh, well, he kind of had his – no, I mean, you didn't, because it's shown that he can be beat. It's just whether you don't have the personnel quite yet, whether you don't have the guys buying in quite yet. But it was abundantly clear that one offense was a well-oiled machine and the other one just
not quite there yet.
Couldn't get out of park. Yeah.
Not quite there yet. All right, more to come. We're going to keep it real about the special teams situation, the kicker. We haven't talked about it yet. All of that on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented to you by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
It's here that a tiny newborn has the heart surgery needed to save her life. It's here that a first grader learns to speak clearly and confidently. It's here that a 12-year-old athlete builds the strength to run full speed again. It's here at Wolfson Children's Hospital that answers are found, courage is shown, and odds are beaten every day. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup, thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
Yingling Traditional Lager, a beer that, like true legends, stands the test of time. Brewed by the same family for nearly 200 years, it's a crisp amber lager with a bold, smooth flavor that's perfect for game day. Whether you're cheering from the stands or watching from your favorite bar, Yingling is the taste of tradition. Yingling, legends stand the test of time.
Watch the game, host your crew, or just unwind at BC Grill and Patio at Sheridan Jacksonville, part of the Marriott family of hotels. Enjoy craft cocktails, tasty bites, and indoor-outdoor seating perfect for watch parties, happy hours, and events. Mention this radio ad for 10% off food and drinks. Visit SheridanJacksonville.com or call 904-564-4772.
Get ready, Jacksonville. The biggest blue and gray celebration of the year is almost here. UNF Homecoming is November 12th through the 15th. Head over to the Nest for the Homecoming Parade, tailgate, homecoming game, and more. It's fun for the entire family. So swoop in and join the celebration. Find all the details and the full schedule of events at unf.edu/homecoming. That's unf.edu/homecoming. And we'll see you there. Swoop!
Yeah, it's, you feel for the guy in terms of wanting to put him in a position to be successful. I thought about that decision a little bit because it was 21-0 at that point. You just kind of wanted to get some points on the board to see a little positivity when you looked up at the scoreboard. And we ended up missing it. So I just got to go talk to him before I comment on it.
Welcome back to Happy Hour. Filling in for JP, I'm Kainani Stevens, Pete Prisco, Austin Lane with us. Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all the customizable options. Zipchair is furniture for fans. We are going to keep it real right now. I feel like Pete always keeps it real. Austin, you too. But we haven't talked much about this yet. Cam Little missing kicks, and then I feel like the play calling then is changing because of having no trust in the kicker as well. I think they went for 6 fourth down.
4th and 7.
Yeah, a lot
of 7.
And in territory as well, where you're like, and yes, there was rain, there was weather involved in that, but I think, was it 4 missed field goals in 5 weeks now for Cam Little? Is this a kicking problem at this point, Pete?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And look, your kicker has issues, but 4th and 7, and I'm going to get on Liam Cohn a little for that one. You got to kick your field goal there. It would have only been a 35-yarder, if I'm not mistaken. If that guy can't make a 35-yard field goal, then you got to cut him. That's the bottom line. So I know it impacted the play calling somewhat, but 4th and 7, you got to get points on the board. You have to. So I didn't like that call at all, but the kicker is an issue right now. And if he doesn't fix it, you got to send it packing. You do. He's got about another 2 games, and if he doesn't fix this, he's done. You know how this is in this league. I've seen many a kicker who had a power leg who went bad. They got rid of him. Mm-hmm. Now, if you get rid of him, what will happen is probably what happened with Jason Myers. He's going to go somewhere else to become a pretty good kicker. So you got to be careful with it. But he has no confidence right now. He's shaking his head. You can tell he's just totally lost it.
Coach came out. Coach speaking today on a media availability while we've been on said he's not bringing in anybody else at this point. They're fully confident in Cam, but I don't know. And I'm not saying they should quit on him by any means. He's clearly a talented player. It's some sort of I don't know if it's the yips or just a mental thing at this point. And I think part of it may be when you've always had success and you've never had to battle through something like this. He's very young. We've mentioned 22 at this point. So for him to now be having this at the highest level, I think that's something he's going to have to learn to battle through. But Austin, do you try to bring in competition? Is that not helpful at this point? What would you be doing?
I mean, if we're having the conversation of 4th and 7 from the 35 and you're not going to kick it because maybe you're worried about the result of kicking it, And by the way, shout out to Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence. I swore in front of my son watching the game, which I thought I wouldn't do this year, but that Trevor Lawrence run.
Back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not since the Blake Bortles picked 6 back-to-back games. What was a curse word drop, but thankfully my son understood. He's like, Dad, I get it. Like, that was bad. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't good. But I think you have to bring somebody in. Because I think if you're James Gladstone, Pete, you've already set a precedent of there's got to be a standard around here. And right now, that standard isn't being reached with Cam Little. And I understand, like, a kicker's different, right? Like, this isn't like a wide receiver dropping a ball where it's like, okay, try to get him going some more, get him some confidence, try to scheme up something. Either you make your kicks or you don't. And right now, he's not making his kicks. And I hate to say it, but if you watch around the NFL, a 50-yard kick now, it's a chip shot. I never thought I'd be saying that, but, like, anybody's making a 50-yard kick. So if that's the conversation we're having, it doesn't hurt to bring somebody else in. I don't care if eventually somebody else comes in and replaces him and he goes to Seattle like Myers did and he's an all-pro. That's fine. Just like I don't care about Quincy Williams leaving here and then he goes to New York and he's an all-pro himself. It's just like it's not working here right now. And I think all you can do is at least bring in some competition and make him feel comfortable a little bit because
and
it's
he's
not
missed some extra points too, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. See, so it's just
then
not
they started
the
going for
field
2
goals.
in that other game too.
Yeah, so I think they need to. I wouldn't bring anybody in yet. But I tell you what, if he misses the kick in the next game, not only is he not, I'm bringing somebody in, and if he outkicks him, he's going to be my kicker. You're going to cut him, and you can't. You got to have confidence. You can't. But here's the other part of that: the whole make the 70-yard field goal in preseason. What did that do to the kid?
It didn't help,
right?
Well, it's not the. Let's say it's not the leg. He's kicking it far enough. It's just not the correct spot.
But you put so much into, you know what I mean?
That story was everywhere, Pete. We're all talking about it.
Sure, he can boom it, but he's not putting it between the uprights. It doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, and hopefully this thing shakes out and he gains more confidence again. But that 70-yarder in the preseason that obviously doesn't count in any kind of record books, that may have been his biggest detriment. We'll see.
But he's in the Hall of Fame. The ball's in the Hall of Fame, so he's got that going for him. He just can't make any kicks when it counts. What about the punter? The punter hasn't been as great either.
Special teams as a whole is a little. Also, for me, that one little bit of momentum he almost got with Parker Washington's kick return. And yes, it was ticky-tacky. I think it was a great call. But no, Jarron Jones shouldn't have been anywhere near it because Parker already had the ball and was running by the guy, so he shouldn't even have been in the mix. And with that field, he was going to fly right by him with the wet field anyway. So for me, don't give them the opportunity to make that call.
Yeah.
And just that frustration. So there are many problems on this team right now, but even special teams not even helping you out.
You're like, what's Logan Cook's average right now? It's got to be significant. I haven't looked at it today, but it's
not what we've expected from
been.
him.
Pete, you've been around a lot of regimes and a lot of coaches and everything. I mean, when you have the players that you count on that aren't playing up to their potential, whether it's on special teams, whether it's a Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, you can go all around the board here. If you have players that aren't playing up to their potential, and it's not just one phase, not one side of the ball, it's everywhere. I mean, do you have to take yourself as a coach and look at yourself and be like, okay, whatever we're doing in terms of our schedule, in terms of practice and everything, it's not working, and do you almost tear it down and then build it back up in this bye week and kind of restructure everything because it's in all phases.
That's panic. That's panic, though. I think it's too early for that.
Okay.
I think it's too early. By the way, they do have the same special teams coach too.
Yeah,
they do.
Right? They kept him.
Yeah.
Heath Farwell.
Heath Farwell. They kept him, so it's the same guy. So it can't be that.
So Logan's averaging 48 yards, 43 net. That's about middle of the. I mean, for him, we're used to seeing a lot better from him.
So
for
him, he's one of the
that's
punters in the league. And he's middle. Yeah. So he's middle. The deep snapper, if I'm not mistaken, there's been talk that he hadn't been as good.
I had heard, early, I think Cam Little's kicking now, but I think some of it was the snap. There was some snapping issues early preseason and then early in the season. And then he also got banged up.
Returner.
I think, I don't remember if it was the Seattle game or another game. He made a tackle and he got hurt as well. So, some question marks around that.
And you know what's wild too? We're sitting here talking. They're 4-3.
I know. You told me this at the beginning of the year. I've been ecstatic, and I'm like,
they're exceeding expectations in terms of record.
With it, but the problem is the way they got to 4-3.
Yeah, right.
Because you were 4-1, and now you're 4-3. That's why.
Yeah, and it's what the wins look like. Where some can call it luck, some call it garbage wins, whatever. You still got the W. That's the most important thing. But it's what the losses look like as well.
And it feels like they still have more to, obviously, after these last 2 losses, but even in
By
the
the
wins,
way,
more
this
to
is
prove
the
on.
week that's going to define Liam Cohen as a head coach. This
is.
week and next week.
Lots of big
this
changes.
This is when you find out who he is. And I believe in him. I think he's done a great job so far, but this is when you're going to find out who he is as a coach.
All right, PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com to learn more. Stick with us here on Happy Hour. We're going to talk a little bit about bye-week potential changes, and there's a lot of fan questions about what this team is going to look like going forward. Austin and Pete will have the answers for you here on Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
What's here is a place that generations have trusted to help their kids grow up healthy and strong. What's here are caregivers with knowledge and expertise rivaling any children's hospital in the world. What's here is the only Level 1 pediatric trauma center in our region. What's here is Wolfson Children's Hospital, with the technology, research, and dedication to save and change countless young lives. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Look closely at the Ford F-150, and you'll see more than just a truck. You'll see hard work, a great adventure, and so much more. Inside and out, it's designed for the family, the road trip, and the most demanding job. Just another reason why Ford F-Series has been the best-selling truck in America for 48 straight years. The Ford F-150. It's time to see Ford in a new light. Come in today for a great deal on a 2025 Ford F-150. Only at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars fans, it's time to show up and show out. Get game day ready with fresh gear from Fanatics. Rock your teal and black with the new Sideline collection, head-turning headwear, and exclusive drops you won't find anywhere else. Visit any of our 11 convenient locations throughout the stadium and rep your Jags in style. The Jaguars Pro Shop, a Fanatics experience.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Certain things that maybe little things that cause us to get pushed back on a drive, or just like little stuff like that. So like it like stalls the drive or whatever. If you finally get something good going, you got a flag or something, and it just stalls the drive. Like I said, just gotta execute and finish off the drives.
The exasperated sigh. I feel like that's how a lot of us are feeling right now with this offense. Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Austin Lane. Jaguars Happy Hour continues. This is the second hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings, and it is time for fan questions. We've been talking about this. Some of them we've addressed, but we're going to reiterate what we've been going over today. So our first fan question from Bush Drive Rich, who says, do you think our head coach is being impatient, giving up on the run so early in the past 2 games? We've been getting positive yards when we do run. And Pete, I'm going to double down on this question a little bit, because do you think this might be some of the original play calls and they're getting out of it as well? Because we have seen a lot of changes at the line of scrimmage lately.
Yeah, we don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that when he comes to the line of scrimmage, if he has a run, he has a pass behind it. and he can check to that. So I don't know if he's checking to those or what the situation is, but no matter what it is, you send in a play call and give him 2 runs.
Right.
I mean,
Don't give him the option.
Give a run to the left. Like there was a run. They ran a. First off, they run way too many jet sweeps to my life. You know how I feel.
Also,
about those.
the fact the book is not out on that 3rd down or 4th down when they run it to the right, I'm surprised.
Well, they ran
the Rams.
Yeah, they ran
but...
one to the right the other day, and it was a full overload to that side. And so, what you should have done is checked out of that play and run to the weak side and run the football. But I think he's checking out of some runs, but you got to get back to running the football, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think to start the game out, it looked like he checked out of a run to go to that pass, and then he gets sacked for the first play of the game, right? And you already put your team behind the 8 ball a little bit. So I think going forward, you have to understand that your identity has to be to run the football, right? And everything comes second. You're not going to be a Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers team that can pass 40, 50 times a game and win football games. Simply, it's not what you have right now. So the more you can use Travis Etienne and hopefully use Tootin as well, who's kind of an afterthought, I feel like, in this offense.
How we've gotten to that point already, yeah.
Which is wild, but I think you have to use a lot more of them just to keep defenses honest and try to control the clock and win football games.
By the way, if Tootin doesn't slip on his run, he's got a nice little crease there to go turn that thing up and turn it into a big play. And the other thing, Austin, you said you thought he checked out of the first one and do a pass.
Yeah.
He made the right check. He just been
the guy was wide open. Yeah.
Gotta execute.
Pete, real quick, I mean to get you off topic, but real quick, you've been a big Tootin guy, and rightfully so. He's shown glimpses. If you could go back right now, you taking him or Scatterboo?
Well, I mean,
I'd still take Tootin.
Because it's back to back. I'm just saying they went right next to each other.
Yeah, I'd still take Tootin.
It's also for the long game as well, too.
I think you're going to get Tootin go. Tootin's going to get it going. There's going to be home runs available.
Yeah.
And you know what else he started to do? He started to block better in the passing game, which he needed to do.
All right.
We talked a little bit about this, but could a lot of the offensive woes be tied to losing Brenton Strange? Also, is Trevor just not seeing the field? I think, I'll speak for this on Brenton Strange. He helps so much on both sides.
Not having Strange is enormous because it's a run game and a passing game, and Trevor's not seeing the field. To answer that question, and I'll be the first. I was bullish on Trevor Lawrence, and I still think he can get out of his funk. But the processing, seeing the field, the things that you have to do to be a star quarterback in this league, he's not doing right now. For whatever reason, he's just not doing it.
Yeah, whether it's, you can call it a lack of confidence. I know moxie gets thrown around a lot. Whatever you want to call it, he's not bringing it to the table right now. And I think, once again, the ability to run the football is only going to help with that. And I think losing Brenton Strange has hurt you.
It's hurt in the pass game and it's hurt in the blocking game for running as well. So let's talk a little bit about the offensive line, Pete. This was the question I was talking about, Chaos Knox. Pete, who are your 5 starting 5 offensive linemen moving forward? Can major changes happen in the bye week? Is it able to? Can you just do it that quick?
How healthy are they? That's the question. And I mentioned Milam. If Milam can come back and play, I would consider him.
Where would you put him?
Right guard spot.
Right guard.
And I know he didn't. I don't think he worked there much, though. Did he? He worked at right tackle. He worked at left guard. I don't remember him getting a lot of work at right guard.
Yeah. Probably not right guard specifically, but they had him a little bit of everywhere. Would you keep the tackles the way they are?
I don't know what other options you have. What are your options?
Can you move Anton left and put Milam at tackle or Chuma on the right side?
Yeah, I mean, you could consider that. And Harrison wasn't great on Sunday. Up until Sunday, he'd actually been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Look, Walker Little had a terrible game against Seattle. He had a couple bad plays on Sunday. He wasn't awful on Sunday. The left guard was terrible against Seattle, was okay on Sunday, not great. Hainsey played okay on Sunday. The right guard was the problem, and he kind of bled over to the right tackle. So if I had to make one change, I'd consider right guard. I'd look at see if Milam or then Udoga played there in the preseason
he
some
did,
as well.
And he
right
subbed
guard.
in as well.
So
Injuries
here's the problem when you do that. You're admitting a money mistake.
Yeah, and you just brought him in.
Right, you're admitting a money mistake, and teams are less apt to admit money mistakes than you'd believe.
We've
And
seen that before for
that
sure.
would kind of be the first, like, and James Gladstone saying, "Hey, my bad." Like that would be the first instance right there. And I'm not sure if you want to have that in your resume.
I'll give him credit for it, though, because as much as we talked about the pass regime not admitting mistakes, that was one of my biggest issues, because this is it's gambles. When you're drafting pick, you don't know what anybody's going to be necessarily. You're gambling on a lot of stuff. And I think the last regime's inability to acknowledge that really hurt them. So hopefully that's not something we'll have to deal with going forward.
But let's be real. They left the cupboard bare, okay? The cupboard was bare. So you go out and you got to try and spend money to fix what was the mess that was left behind, and there's not exactly a big glut of offensive linemen, a good offensive lineman on the market. So you probably end up overpaying for a guy in McCary who was just okay.
Well, he's also someone that played multiple positions, right? So we don't even know if he necessarily has like a home position, because I think he had played all 5 positions on the line when that was like the thing coming in.
And he was a left guard for the Ravens last year and was just okay.
Yeah. And then when it comes to tackles real quick too, I think like Harrison's probably been the most consistent tackle that they have right now. And he's playing his best at right tackle. I wouldn't try to switch it up now and say, okay, you're doing pretty well over there, but you know what, go to left tackle because it's more important. Like I would keep it where it's at. Hopefully Walker Little can pick up his end of the deal a little bit. And if not, maybe you explore some options, but I would keep the tackles right now where they're at.
And then they explore options, and you got the same problem you had with Tyson Campbell. You got a regime that gave a guy a big contract.
Yeah.
He's probably too big for what he is.
Left tackle, yep. We'll see what changes come about in the bye week. Another bye week kind of question. If Pete was in Gladstone's position, what moves or decisions would he make during the bye week, if any at all?
I would call around the league to see if I could find a defensive tackle, first and foremost. Zach Sealer in Miami. If Miami has maybe one of the edge rushers, if Miami was willing to trade him for a ham sandwich or something, because Miami's going to have a fire sale.
And
Phillips and Chubb are veteran pass rushers. Zach Sealer just got a new contract, but I looked at it. It's not that prohibitive. You can bring him in. He hadn't played as well, and I'll give you that. But, he's been a good player in his career. He got contract, and now he hasn't been as good in that mess in Miami. But maybe you bring a guy like that in. I would also we don't know the answer to this. How injured is Strange? They said a month. Is it going to be longer? What will it be? If the Ravens lose another game and they have a fire sale, I'd call on Mark Andrews as well, because he's in the final year of his deal. You can make a move. Those are some of the moves I would consider. And there are some corners on the market, but look, corners on the market, if they're on the market, they're on the market for a reason.
Pete, what would you give up for some of this stuff? Because it's not like they got a ton of picks to work with necessarily.
Well, they've actually loaded up on picks. Remember, they got a bunch of them.
You're right.
Yeah. So they give up some of them. There's only a certain couple guys, defensive linemen they have. If you can get Zach Sealer for a late round pick, I'm making that deal, because I think he could solidify their defensive line. Now, there was some talk that the Titans were going to move Jeffrey Simmons.
Well, what that would take. Also,
that isn't happening.
From the Titans to here, I don't even know if
capital.
God himself could pull that one off.
Yeah.
All right. This one's for both of you guys. So, Jags fan 5858, what's your biggest concern right now at the bye week, and how would you fix it? Austin, you go first. What's your big... there are many.
There's a couple.
What is your biggest concern?
I mean, I'm on the fence with the penalties, but I'm going to go... That's kind of low-hanging fruit, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say I just think my biggest concern is Trevor Lawrence right now, because I think that's the biggest priority. It's why Liam Cohen was brought here. It's why you drafted Travis Hunter where you did, why you sacrificed so much to get him. It's the emergence of Trevor Lawrence, and I think... With this 7-game sample size, I think the most important thing of this season was to find out if Trevor Lawrence is truly the guy or not. And I'm sitting here 7 games in the season, and I'm telling you, I really don't know. So that's my biggest concern right now.
I'm with you. I think that's number one priority. You pay that guy that money. Forget about the money. You draft him number 1 overall. He's supposed to be the savior for the franchise, and right now he's not playing like it. And the amazing thing is, you go look at his numbers on Sunday, and you go, really wasn't that bad. He didn't turn it over, no interceptions. See, but I have a theory on interceptions, and I'm in the minority on this one. You're going to throw interceptions if you're taking chances.
A lot of good quarterbacks, yeah.
If you're not taking chances, you're not going to throw interceptions. And I think this team has gotten to the point where he's playing far too safe on offense. And, like I told you, the shots in the hole in the second level against cover 2.
Yeah.
Those are there. But you got to put them on time, and you got to make the throw on time and put it in the right spot. If you don't, they're going to pick that off.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's taking the chances. So I'm with you 100%. It's Trevor Lawrence the rest of the way.
I don't know what the priority, how we're going to fix it, but I know it's got to get fixed.
It's right here. He's got to fix it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's really the frustrating thing, this whole process, right? It'd be one thing where if you saw the mechanics aren't where they're supposed to be, if you saw the decision making, like we've seen the good of Trevor Lawrence, right? We've seen the great of Trevor Lawrence. Like we've seen small samples of it, but it's been there. Mm-hmm. It's just now unlocking it and having it at a consistent basis, because I think it tells a lot of, I think the signature Trevor Lawrence play this year is the stumble-rooski. Which
is not great.
At the time was, all right, it was fun. We beat the Chiefs, but now looking back on it, it's like, that's what we have to hang our hat on right now? Like, not so good, right?
You see, but I think the signature Trevor Lawrence play is the sideline shot to Brian Thomas to set up the stumble rookie.
Sure. I mean, it was a hell of a throw.
There are only a few humans on the planet that make that throw.
Yeah.
He just doesn't make – and sometimes I think when he's forced to make throws, it's either – if he's picked off there, oh, well, you know what I mean? He's trying to come from behind to win the game. He plays better. He saw it against the Chargers back in the day in the playoffs. They're done. Chum, 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 chum.
Yeah.
And I think he starts pressing when it's an even field.
We got to start putting more pressure on him beforehand.
Well, just tell him you're down 15. Go make plays.
We'll start down 15. Just start flat.
Stop taking the ball, doing the coin toss. Go on defense first. Let them do their thing. If they get 3 points or 7 points, then put Trevor out there. Let's go.
Okay. There
you go. There you go.
Reverse psychology. Maybe that'll work for us. All right. Coming up after the break, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on around the NFL and a little preview of Monday Night Football. Jaguars Happy Hour presented to you by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with Everbank. Open an Everbank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. Everbank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars souvenir cup. Thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
My best friend Riley loved going to the beach. She was a great swimmer. Then one day, during a swim meet, she collapsed. She had cancer, Hodgkin lymphoma. She spent months getting care at UF Health. The doctors did so much, even put her in a clinical trial. I wish we could go to the beach right now. But she's working.
Out of the water.
She's on lifeguard duty. Maybe we'll head out when her shift is done.
UF Health. Human progress has no finish line.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Jacksonville Builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
Dropping is Trevor. Fires it deep downfield. That ball's caught by Travis Hunter. He's into the end zone. Touchdown.
Frank Fangio with the call of the game, presented by Coil Fence. Since 1927, we've been around the block and fenced it too. Not a lot of options for Frank, nothing against him, but that was a tough game for him to call, I'm sure. Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick. Pete Prisco, Austin Lane with me. Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings from the Hyundai Studios. And let's talk a little bit about what's going on around the NFL as we keep up with some of these other teams. Obviously, Thursday Night Football, Steelers and Bengals. Bengals got a win over the Steelers there, which Jalen Ramsey had a tough night of it, our old friend here. But
he was awful. He had a tough the Steelers looked old.
Yeah. In that one, they definitely did. Mike Tomlin cooks up some stuff most weeks, but that was a little tough for him. Bears beating the Saints. Browns beat the Dolphins, who the Dolphins just look... That one's rough down there. The Raiders getting shut out by the Chiefs, 31-0. And then the Panthers, look out, 13-6 win over the Jets. They have the same record as the Jags right now. The Panthers do.
Never thought
you know
what
they do? They run the ball and they take advantage of bad teams. I mean,
yes,
they think about who they beat the last couple of weeks. They beat the Dolphins, who stink. They beat the Cowboys' run defense by running for 200 yards against them, and then they beat the Jets. And you got to win those games, and that's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Patriots. They play Buffalo this week, by the way, so we'll know more
see how it goes. Yes, Patriots. Mike Vrabel getting a little revenge going into Tennessee, and 31-13 there. Don't look now. Patriots looking pretty good as well.
Yeah, well, I love too how the Titans let go of their coach already because they didn't want Vrabel to be the reason why he got fired or whatever. So. Yeah, Vrabel, I mean, Drake May looks like the real deal here.
One of the best things that happened to the Jags.
Coach quarterback. And by the way, we talk about travel. The Patriots played 3 straight road games and won all of them.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Good to see. Broncos with the comeback of the century there the other night against the Giants.
Choke. That's a Giants choke.
Mm-hmm.
33 points in the fourth quarter. 33 they scored. It should never happen.
Do you think Brian Daboll's on the hot seat there, Pete? Or do they have excited
I think
now?
He got a little calm after Jackson Dart had that little revival, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm good."
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because I think they got life with Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
And I think you don't want to make that change because you can see that he understands and likes the offense, and you got to start him all over again.
Gotcha.
So I think he stays.
Okay.
Packers beat the Cardinals yesterday, and then my biggest concern thus far, the Colts are just reeling them off. Another win over the Chargers yesterday. I thought it was going to be Jaguars. Texans were the biggest problem. Now it's shifted, and the Colts they're looking for real for sure.
I'll tell you what, I actually didn't believe in the Colts because of their teams they beat, but I said if they went to the Chargers and handled business, then I believe now. And, we talk about offensive line play. That's the reason they're good on offense. They're averaging 33 points a game. The offensive line, they got rid of their center and their right guard last year. Kelly and Freeze went over and starting in Minnesota, and they brought in Bortolini to play center and Conclaves to play right guard. Their line is as good as any in the league right now, and that's why Jonathan Taylor's in the MVP conversation. That's why Daniel Jones putting up big numbers.
Tyler Warren's also going to be a problem, I think, for years and years to come, man. That guy looks like the real deal. Yeah.
But no matter what, they're not winning in Jacksonville because they never do.
Pete, knock on wood right now. You stop
Lock it in, Pete. You going to lock that one in?
Stop now.
No, but I did lock it. You forgot I locked the Chiefs game, remember?
You did. We'll give you credit for that. We haven't been back. You did lock it.
All right.
Cowboys getting the double-digit win over 44-22 over the Commanders, and then the 49ers back on track. I think they got Kittle back, so they got the 20-10 win over the Falcons. Also, one of our sponsors here, Dreamfinders. For 12 years, Dreamfinders has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can visit dreamfindershomes.com for all of the available inventory, and go Jags. And let's talk about Monday Night Football. A pair of games tonight, starting at 7 in Detroit. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Lions. Bucs are banged up, but they're playing great football. The Lions want to get a bounce-back win after that loss to the Chiefs. Who you got in the Motor City?
I'm going to take the Bucs. I mean, the Bucs. I think the Lions will win a close one, but I think the Bucs are going to score a lot of points. They're so banged up on defense in Detroit, but they're banged up on offense in Tampa. But Baker's playing so well. I'll take the Lions to win a close one.
Yeah, I think the Lions as well. This feels like that Jared Goff 500-yard Monday Night Football night, right? He's literally due for one of those every single year. This seems like the night it's going to happen.
I'm taking Baker. I love it.
Okay.
He's got so much attitude.
Yeah.
He'll find a way. He'll find a way. And then a late one out west, the Houston Texans coming off the bye week. They have to travel out to Seattle, Lumen Field, facing off against the Seahawks, who are hitting their stride. Who you got in the nightcap?
This game might be over in 2 hours and 10 minutes because neither team can do anything offensively. These defenses are really
Which is good. It starts at 10.
Yeah.
You saw Seattle's defense, and they can attack the quarterback. And the other side, the Texans can't block. I mean, they gave up a lot of pressures on C.J. Stroud. So I'm going with Seattle, even though Seattle hasn't been as good at home. They've been great on the road and haven't been as good at home, but I'll take Seattle.
I think Houston's got a newfound confidence. I don't like them going on the road to Seattle, a tough place to play, but I just think for whatever reason, Houston will find a way. I don't like admitting it because now you're neck and neck with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC South, but I think Houston's got this one tonight.
I think I'm with Pete in the sense that seeing that Seahawks team get after Trevor Lawrence, the Texans have still not figured out a way to protect C.J. Stroud. So 7 sacks against the Jags, I think it's going to look something similar in this one. So I'm going to go with Seattle as well. All right, let's quickly wrap things up with, we're going into the bye week. We talked a ton about the issues we've seen in the last couple of weeks. If you're Liam Cohen, Austin, what's your main focus? I know Trevor Lawrence, we got to get him on track, but as a coach, what you can control, what are you focusing on?
Yeah, you know what? I have to go back to the basics because it all starts with the penalties and it starts with playing, catching footballs and things like that. Very basic things. And we heard this in the preseason. I forgot what week. I think it was week 1 after the Pittsburgh game where it's like we have to go back to the basics. You have to do the same thing here as well. Now, it doesn't have to be a really physical week of practice, but it's got to be more of sharpening the mind, being mental, and just, going back to what you know. So I think that's going to be the main focus is just the basics.
Get Trevor Lawrence going and get Brian Thomas to realize what a special talent he can be if he just decides to go do it.
Pete, we've got a schedule that is favored for the back half. When you go into a bye week, I felt like this was kind of the gauntlet right out of the gate, right? You got the Chiefs, the Seahawks, you're going to London to deal with LA. Houston at the time, we didn't know what they were going to be. This was the tough part of the schedule for me. This part coming up, though, because they played so much at home, they've got 3 out of 4 are going to be away. So they're coming back. They're going to Las Vegas, who, to me...
that team stinks.
They do. And if you come out and you don't play well against a team that is not good, that is a giant concern for me. So coming out and playing well in that game is going to be huge. Then you go on the road to Houston, come back against the Chargers, and then you're on the road again against the Cardinals. So how important is that stretch, Pete?
3 out of 4. They got to get 3 out of 4. Whatever way you get them, you have to get 3 out of 4. That's the way I see it. And you know what? 4 out of 4 is possible if you play good football. Because then that's not... Cardinals are a tough physical team, but they're not a great team. And, Houston's tough physical on defense, but they're not great on the offensive line. You got to get 3 of those if you're Jacksonville. 3 of them.
I think you have to get 3 as well, but I want to go back to what Pete said earlier in the show. I think this bye week and then that Raiders week is going to be an extremely important showing for the Jacksonville Jaguars because that's a team you're supposed to beat. And if you go out there and it's competitive and heaven forbid that you lose that game, well then, man, you are going to have a laundry list of problems to sort through because that team right now, if you watch that Kansas City game, they are not good by any capacity. Max Crosby's banged up. Their defensive tackle got banged up as well. They have injuries. Jacoby Myers doesn't want to be there. It's a team ripe for getting a win against.
Brock Bowers hasn't played much. They've been. If you don't win that game, you got major problems the rest of the way.
Pete, is the Texans still, in terms of the division, obviously the Colts have a great record right now. Is it down to just the Colts now, or do you think the Texans still might be in the mix in the second half of the season for the division?
I think if you look at that Texans schedule, it's so brutal. I don't know how they can get out from underneath. Everybody's saying, well, they beat the Ravens when they went before. The Ravens stink the way they're constructed
they are right now.
They're
bad.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of dismiss that a little bit. What they win? They beat the Titans and the Ravens on back-to-back weeks. Isn't that what
that
they
was
did?
how they got the first?
Yeah, so they're not. We don't know what they are. We'll know more about them tonight. If they go to Seattle and win a physical game against a good physical team like Seattle, then we'll sit there and we'll say, okay, they're back and they're going to be in the mix. If they lose tonight, I think they're out of the equation. Look at the rest of their schedule. It is brutal.
All right, everybody, enjoy your bye week. As much as we've talked about this team, they are 4-3 heading in, and I think we would all take that.
Bye week. You're going to have the weekend off. We're going to be working.
Oh, Pete, we know you're working all the time. I'll take my 4 days. I'll take my 4 days off. Thank you for letting me sit in, and for JP, Austin, Pete, I appreciate you guys so much. And JP will be back with you next Monday, so you guys can all poke fun at him then. But until then, enjoy your weeks, and we'll be back with you next week here on Happy Hour.